Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back here to Pure Finesse with your host, Jay Murchison, and the king of the subtleties, Malcolm Govius. I don't know if you've told anybody else other than myself, but this is the only reason why you live is for this podcast.
I love this podcast. I just every day I look forward to getting up and creating a new podcast, creating new ideas for this podcast. I just love talking about sports with one of my good buddies right here in Jacob Murchison. I don't call him Jacob.
Yeah,
Don't call him Jacob, but yeah, just love this podcast.
Yes, the only reason why you live, right?
Yeah,
the sole reason. But a lot of things happened the last week, and I would say that the biggest story only happened yesterday, and that's an NHL talk, Malcolm.
Yeah, I guess there's a big issue with the Arizona Coyotes, and that is because they're being locked out of their arena because they're not paying their bills. I think this was kind of inevitable after Forbes gave out their list of the top of the richest teams, and Arizona was dead last.
Yeah, I would say Cam Newton can afford to pay for the Arizona Coyotes.
I think Cam Newton could afford it, but the Arizona Coyotes could not. And what does that mean for Austin Matthews never going?
It's fantastic. Is what it means. That's exactly what that means. Yes. So Austin Matthews, I think now is a foregone conclusion that he's going to be a Leaf for life now. Because
I hate to see it. I hate to see it.
Not really. I don't think so. So the city of Glendale is now locking out the Arizona Coyotes of their own arena, or shouldn't say are most likely ending up going to be that they could get locked out, not paying their bills.
Yeah.
I know you are a big advocate of this team or this city to get an NHL expansion team or relocation.
Yes, sir.
So where would you say that the most likely scenario is for the Arizona Coyotes?
They're talking with the Quebec Premier, Gary Bettman. Quebec City is just the most realistic, and I think it's going to be the next option. I don't know how soon that will be. If this issue gets any worse, maybe it's going to be sooner than everyone thinks it will be. But I would say realistically, give it maybe 4 or 5 years, and I think the team relocates.
4 or 5 years. So where are they going to play if they get locked out of the arena?
Oh no, they'll find an arena.
They'll find somewhere, right? Some dump somewhere in Arizona.
They'll build it quick enough.
There's only so many rinks in Arizona.
Quick enough.
What is it, Rome?
Well, I'm talking about Quebec City.
I'm talking Arizona.
Oh yeah, in Arizona, I don't know. They can't.
But to the non-homer view over here, the most likely scenario, from what I understand, is it's going to be Houston. That's going to be the team or the city that's going to be ending up with the Arizona Coyotes. It's the most easiest scenario. There's no relocation of teams and divisions because, if you move to Quebec City, you have to move a team to the west.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's Detroit again moving because they moved from the east to the west or the west to the east. A long time. Within the last 5 years.
Yeah, not that. Not a lot.
But it's kind of a shame because the Arizona Coyotes, they draw as many fans as we do at intramural games.
Oh, it's ridiculous how many games they draw and how many people they draw. And it's worse than the Senators a couple of years ago. I just can't believe it. They still have a team to this day.
And I'd love to see a Quebec-Montreal rivalry again.
I would love to see that too. And the only reason I was hoping for Arizona to stay is to
see Austin Matthews leave.
Because the only team he would go to, in my opinion, would be Arizona, just because it's his hometown. But speaking of Matthews and the Leafs, it's the story of the Leafs resurgence now. Matthew is on a 7-game goal streak, and then Jack Campbell clearly playing lights out, playing out of this world, and he leads the league in save percentage and goals against average. I did not know that. He leads the league in both.
Waka waka.
That's pretty impressive. But Matthews on the 7-game goal streak, he was kind of not slow, but not his typical self near the beginning of the season, but now he's kind of picking it up. What do you think about it?
Well, yeah, he had a wrist injury to start off the season. Had off-season wrist surgery, so he's not going to be like the 40-goal scorer as he usually is
right off the bat.
Exactly. And everyone wanted to panic about like the start, like, is Mitch Marner or I hate Mitch Marner for the record.
Yeah.
But is this team, is this team going to be the team that's going to get it done? They have to blow it up, but they have to move some key parts, and they've only won 15 of their last 18 games.
Yeah. And how about that lineup yesterday, their first line for them, eh? What do you think about that first line?
I mean, the Scarborough-Scottsdale connection? Yeah,
nice. I just remember looking at the scores, like, is it Marner or is it Bunting with the incredible pass?
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Michael Bunting, he's going to be the Rocket Richard winner if you're taking bets. You might as well just put it on it because it's going to happen. He just doesn't want to peak too early. But he's playing like Mitch Marner right now with those slick mitts with an unbelievable pass to Austin Matthews. Matthews ties a career high for 7 games with a goal in a row, and it's not like I'm going to be at it when he has the 8th, when he plays Tampa Bay and scores on only the best goalie in the world in Andre Vasilevsky. But I have a question for you, Mr. Goaltender, is that how good of Jack Campbell being played so far? Is he really having a open conversation for being the starting goaltender for Team USA?
I think it's
Beijing.
Like without a question at this point, he's leading the league right now. If he's able to continue to keep up this pace, there's no question that he is the starter. I'm not a huge Maple Leafs fan, and I hate the Leafs. So when we're talking about them, I don't like talking good about them. But Jack Campbell, fellow goalie, is playing really good, and I think he deserves a spot at that number 1 spot for Team USA. But who are your other goalies?
Well, number 1, I think, is Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah,
he hasn't yet to play for the States and the Olympics because they didn't go in 2014, obviously, or 2018, I should say. So I think it's his net to lose.
Yeah, but I still think Campbell can overtake him.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I mean, if they keeps playing like this, if he leads the league in save percentage of goals against average, it's pretty hard not to start him.
Exactly.
But you know what? They can always play 2 goalies. I mean, remember in 2010 with Luongo and Brodeur?
Exactly, and those are 2 great goalies. So exactly, you don't have to stick to one. It's the Olympics. You have all the star power you need. If you're Canada, you're USA, you're 2 of the top 2 teams. So you can use anyone in the league, and you'll be fine. This, I don't know if you're going to be a big fan about this one. There's if everyone knows, the big scrums and the big fights that were happening.
Evidently it's between the Hellebucks and Campbell's team.
Yeah, between the 2 teams with the Jets and the Leafs. I didn't get to see a whole bunch of it. I saw what happened with Pionk and Spezza, and I saw Pionk got suspended for 2 games, and then I was like,
a concussion.
So I'm like, okay, if he gets 2, and his hearing was not in person, but Spezza's was in person, I'm like, okay, I think he's gonna get 5. He ended up getting 6. Do you think that's a fair suspension?
Yeah, I mean,
like non-homer.
Yeah. So I mean, the kids in Waterdown have been all over this the last couple of days. It's been nonstop talk. I mean, driving half an hour and seeing 250, 300 messages will spark some conversation.
Yeah.
But in-person hearing it's usually an automatic 5-game suspension or higher.
Yeah.
And he got 6. So I mean, the head wasn't a huge, I'm a fan of the head, obviously, for the circumstances, but I want to blame the referees for this 6-game suspension because they definitely let this game get out of hand with not calling either of them penalties, because he wasn't called for a penalty on the ice when it actually happened. And now he's waiting to be, he just wants Christmas and New Year's off with a 6-game suspension.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of reffing in a bunch of sports right now that I think that a lot of people are not really happy with, especially in the NBA. I don't know if we'll get to that a bit later too, but I'm just saying recently I've been noticing this a lot is NHL refs are not able to control the fights when they're happening nowadays. Back in the day, they let them fight whatnot and everything would be fine. When there's a big fight now, it kind of gets out of control. So I just want to see some things change. And I want to see more consistency with suspensions in the NHL.
Well, you said that too. Yeah. So these 2, like Pionk and Spezza, both didn't get called on the ice, and now they're getting suspended for it.
What?
Last night, so it's Wednesday. So Tuesday night, Ian Cole, the Hurricanes and the Jets played, and Ian Cole went a knee-on-knee with Scheifele, got 5 in a game.
Jeez.
And is getting fined and not getting suspended.
He's not getting suspended.
So there's a bit, I don't know, if you're not getting called on the ice, you're going to get suspended for it. And if you get a call on the ice, you're not getting suspended, you're getting fined for it. So in theory, he's getting suspended a game because he got kicked out for, he got a misconduct.
Yeah.
So I'm not too positive on the rationale behind this in the NHL, but I just want to, and I'm sure you want to see it. It's more consistent with the rule book. George Peros, wake up.
Yeah. NHL, George Peros, wake up. But moving on to maybe some highlights. I wish I could put this up here because this was just plain disgusting.
Well, I know Malcolm's a big editor, so
yeah. Maybe I will get in there. Who knows? But Trevor Zegras with the fake Michigan, but the Michigan pass over the net, over to Milano for the tap and goal. Even afterwards, Zegras is like, "Are you kidding me? Can you believe that just happened?" Do you think that goal was planned? Do you think they planned it out, or do you think that was spur of the moment that happened?
Well, apparently Milano was calling for it.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like Michigan, and then he did it. I mean, unbelievable.
That's ridiculous.
And he did it against a really good team in Buffalo.
Oh,
yeah, nice.
Maybe the best team in hockey at the moment.
Yeah, or the best ad-lib of all time, but we just had a moment there. But it almost didn't happen. It was almost called a high stick. It was pretty close to the crossbar, but damn, I mean, that's right up there with the best passes in NHL history of all time.
Goal of the year?
It has to be right now. That's for darn sure. I mean, This is up there for like the best pass of all time.
I think so, right? Like it's Datsuk. We saw Mr. Callum Williams. He posted this on his story, learning from the master and Datsuk. Datsuk probably the best hands in the NHL ever. Trying to flip it over to his teammate doing the same thing. And then Trevor Zegras probably watching some Datsuk film. Not gonna lie, he'd probably try to duplicate that. So he did it, and he did it successfully. So
does he make the Olympic team?
Trevor Zegras? I don't know. This whole Anaheim team, even Troy Terry, they're playing really good. So
second in the Pacific.
Those guys, there's a few names on there they got to look up for this Olympic team. Does Getzlaf make the Canadian
Absolutely
Olympic
not.
team?
You dumb stupid.
20 points. What are you talking about? But moving on, we have the Vancouver Canucks, along with some other teams who kind of cleaned house with Philadelphia and Montreal. But Canucks cleaned house basically their entire hockey operations department. Do you like the hire of Bruce Boudreau?
Well,
before you
I
get
was
to
gonna say no need to flex on him, but
not a big deal. But I kind of that didn't really. I
saw before it was coming.
No. I said hello to Bruce Boudreau at a primetime conference recently.
At the Westin in downtown Toronto.
Yeah,
no big deal.
No big deal. Just there for some work, but he
just for work purposes.
Just saying hello, whatnot. And it was just friendly hello and everything. It's just nice seeing. You don't get to see a lot of guys really sometimes, right?
So what you're saying is he's coming on the podcast.
No, you don't get to see a bunch of
you have his
NHL
card,
executives, right? There's Brian Burke there too.
You gave him your business card, right?
No, I did not. Yeah, that was a missed
big marketing over here.
Missed opportunity. But yeah, do you like this hire though?
He is definitely to the definition of old school.
Yeah,
and I think that's what they need. Travis Green, I think he's a good coach. I mean, we made the second round with Vancouver in the bubble, but I mean, I don't think his message was getting to his players. And I mean, to have some of your players having some serious slumps, like Pettersson, I mean, is basically non-existent on the ice right now.
Yeah,
and he's arguably their best centerman, and made it some big trades in the offseason, made for Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Connor Garland, and those two haven't really panned out yet. So Bruce Boudreau, I think, knows how to get the best out of his players. And I mean, he's had a proven track record in the league, even though he hasn't won a cup. But I mean, he's been on some really good teams. He's coached a while. He's been on he's been on the some Caps, good teams, man. Yeah. And the Wild.
Was he with the Flames at some point?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
But I mean, he's also, he's not the best. You see his first practice, he couldn't even catch an edge.
Really?
He was struggling. Yeah, he was struggling getting out of his seat, struggling to get on the ice. But he's not there to skate. He's there to coach. So, I mean, he was talking about the press conference about Brock Besser. He's being snake bait. He's like, shoot the puck. He only scored in his first game as coach.
Not a big deal.
But, I mean, the more intriguing part of this is that there's no GM right now. It's Stan Smil, who's the interim. And they're talking about bringing back Mike Gillis, if you remember, was the GM when they made the Cup final in 2010. So they're talking about bringing that band back together. Because the only two guys I think left in the hockey ops department are only the Sedin twins.
Really? And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this Vancouver team is like as much of a dumpster fire as a lot of people think it may be. They're not like a superstar team or great team or anything, but I think they're an average team who can make the playoffs and make a push for it. So they just, like Jay's been saying, like, you need the right coach, you need just a few of the right minds there to get the direction you want to go to, and they're going to get the job done. So I think this team is heading in the right direction right now, if they bring back that GM too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure some Canucks fans would love to see that happen too, because the best time of their franchise history was back in the day. Me and you, baby. We used to have fun. TikTok session. NBA talk now. The coronavirus, it's still here, guys. It's 2020. It's still here. It's grabbing a hold of some star-studded players in the NBA. Two of them being LaMelo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. It's making it tough for some betting connoisseurs like ourselves.
Bettors, man.
Yeah, it's making it tough. The odds are switching every hour, I should say, for how many positive cases are coming on.
Honestly,
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna cope. I mean, what Toronto's doing, I think January 15th, you're not allowed to be unvaxxed and play. So, I mean, it's going to throw a loophole for a lot of teams, Bradley Beal being one of them on the Wizards.
Yeah, holy.
So
they've been playing good too, so they can't lose him.
Well, speaking of playing good, you want to talk about two absolute studs in the West right now. Had 2 games last week. The Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns had 2 games. Phoenix took the first meeting in Phoenix, and then the Warriors absolutely spanked.
Yeah, that was a spanking.
Phoenix in San Francisco. I have a hard time getting used to saying that.
Yeah.
But is this not a possible Western Conference Finals matchup coming in the making?
100% it is, right? Golden State still does not have Klay Thompson or James Wiseman in the lineup, and they're still 17-3, 18-3 or something around
3-loss team.
3-loss team, and so are the Suns, 3-loss team right now too. So there's without a doubt, those are the two best teams in the league. So you have to say they're the Western Conference favorites without a doubt. Obviously, there's going to be other teams in the league who maybe make a push. Looking at like teams, like the Lakers, right? Like the Lakers who are not playing good right now. They're hovering around 500, and so are the Clippers. So those teams, I think. Well, obviously for me, I'm a big LeBron fan. I like LeBron to be good and be great.
He's not on the shot.
Yeah, be good and be great. But everything takes time. So I don't know anyone else right now who could really make a strong argument for me.
You know what? I've always been a big fan of the Utah Jazz the last couple of years. I know. Remember last year that was my sleeper pick to win the NBA championship. They made it. I think did they? No, they did not make it. They didn't make it past the finals.
They made it past the first round. You're getting excited. Yeah, I remember that.
But I want to keep talking about the Lakers because I don't know if you saw Charles Barkley sounding off on Anthony Davis last night. No. He said like you're trash.
He said that to him.
He's like, you gotta be better. And I think it just says something about how good a team meshes because you could have like really, really good talent and just suck.
But I also saw that this game they played against the Celtics last night was the best game that these three played together so far.
They also played 25. They played 25 games.
Yeah, I know. But and they didn't have Tatum or Brown on the floor.
You would think like
in Boston.
I think we get lost in the fact that these guys aren't in their primes anymore.
Obviously, they're like not, yeah.
Russ, Melo, like everyone. I mean, I know Carmelo. I don't know if it's night now or not, but he was at one point shooting his best career 3-point percentage.
Yeah, he was shooting like 46% or something.
But I mean, it says one thing to shoot the ball really well. It's one thing to play defense.
Exactly. You
gotta be damn,
D type of guy.
It really hit home to see the Staples Center.
And it's gonna be what
crypto.com was gang.
How do you know we're living in the 21st century?
Well, I can already see it now that like our kids are like, I don't know what the generation's called now after us, like 20. I don't know.
I know we're Gen Z. I don't know what's after.
I don't know, like YX. I know it's some silly something like that.
Yeah.
But I can already hear, we're going to the crypto tonight.
Oh my gosh,
it's gonna happen.
And that's in LA too. Everyone's gonna be saying that.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But both teams, and I don't think Kawhi's played a game yet for the Clippers.
No, I don't think he's hit the floor.
And I think Tyronn Lue was an overrated coach. To tell you the truth.
Well, we know LeBron James was coaching that team in 2016 without a doubt. I don't know how people didn't catch
I saw this post too. Is 2016 not the best season in NBA history?
100%. You had the 73-9 Warriors losing in the finals. LeBron James, greatest player of all time, coming back from 3-1 down. Only team ever to do it. And he put the team on his back. Obviously, he had Kyrie hit that clutch shot. He had that big block in the finals. I think without a doubt, that's the best season.
And you're also forgetting Kobe's final season.
Kobe's final game.
Dropping 60.
Oh my goodness. I forgot that was in 2016 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the Raptors making their first their first Eastern Conference
final. Yep.
What a time to be alive. As it's summer 16 said, whoa, look at me go. Featuring Drake.
You're on fire.
What am I saying? Big trade talks too coming out of Portland is Damian Lillard. I don't know if he's been denying it all week, but reports are surfacing that he wants to play with only Ben Simmons of all people.
I did not like to see this. Does
he have a case, or I mean, is it much better with CJ? Or should they just blow this whole team up? Because I mean, Portland is dumpster fire.
Nothing's been working.
The front office in Portland is it's in shambles.
Well, nothing's been working. This team, it's just been Dame carrying the team year after year after year, making the playoffs, going a couple rounds.
Conference finals in 18, right?
Exactly. He's made it to the conference finals. I'm going to say because he's made it. He's been carrying.
Did they not have 3 wins? Didn't have a chance to? That was against the KD Warriors, and they had a chance to go to the finals and blew it.
Yeah, they did. I remember. Yeah. Was that? I thought that was Houston. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember, but either way, Dame Time has just been carrying his team year after year. So I think they got to do something, either trade him or get the players that he wants. Listen to him. He's the GM now.
Well, I mean, he got the coach and Chauncey Billups.
Exactly.
And I think that they hired a GM yet in Portland. I don't know if they have.
I don't think so.
But they definitely should be consulting Dame because he's been pretty loyal to this city and he's made that perfectly clear, whether it's this week over Twitter or signing a new contract extension, that he wants to be in Portland. And they gotta give him what he wants because he's going to be the heart and soul of that team for as long as he shall wishes. And
he only wants a 2-year, $54 million deal.
I give it to him.
It's a lot of money, but 2 years, take what you can get with him at this point. Prove that
he's an arguably top 5 point guard in the league.
Exactly. So he's like you know what I compare it to, like in the NFL, since we're gonna go there next, is Matthew Stafford stuck on the Lions. I wouldn't say Portland's like the Lions, but he's stuck on that team. And if he goes somewhere else right now, maybe he'll be really, really good on a championship team at an MVP caliber.
Exactly.
Who knows? But sticking to the NFL here, my Steelers, let's go. Fend off the Ravens in a showdown. Deontay Johnson balling out. He had 2 touchdowns, I think like 105 yards. The AFC North is there's a few divisions tight in football, but I think the AFC North, I think you might think this as well, but just because we're having teams in that division, but we think it's the tightest division in football. Do you think so too?
Well, I would say it's the most unpredictable division in football, I would say, because everybody's got bad losses and a lot of teams, and everyone's above 500.
Yeah.
It's super, super close. I can't remember the last time it's been like this in any division, that it's been this close with this good of records in week 13, week 14 coming up.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun to watch
as
a fan. And, there's some highs and there's some lows.
Oh, yeah.
And most of them have been lows this year for the Browns. It's been very uneventful, but I look at it like 2 years ago, we were 0-16.
That was 2 years
3 years ago.
3 years ago. That was
so. You know what? Anything. I'll take 6-6. You know what? It's been.
I'll take it.
I'll take it to the money. I'll take it to the bank and cash that out. I think it's that division, and I want it. Well, NFC West is another great division.
I was gonna say that one
minus the Seahawks. I mean, I just saw today Joel Adams is up for the season, so they're milking it in.
Yeah.
But San Fran's holding down a wild card spot, and you have the best team in football in the Arizona Cardinals, and they're only going up against the Rams next week.
It's gonna be a great freaking game.
They're 10-2, I want to say.
10-2,
yes. And the Rams are now 8-4. You see any way that the Rams win that division?
The Rams could win that division. Tyler's back though. D-Hop's back. So I know we were talking about this with Paul and Keen on their podcast, but even without them, they were playing really good. They're winning 2 of the 3 games without those 2 players. I think with them, they're just even 100 times better, because Kyler Murray was on an MVP caliber season before he got injured for those 2 or 3.
I was going to say, do you have should there be I know it's definitely an unwritten rule, but do you have to play a certain number of games to win MVP? That's what it feels like.
I feel like you have to play the whole season, right? Because I don't think a lot of people are going to value you if you get injured, right? It's like Derrick Henry. He was on MVP caliber.
Yeah. I also want to say last year, everybody was on Russell Wilson to win MVP
at the beginning. Yeah. Right.
Yep. And then broke his finger, and then everyone forgets. It's very hot and cold.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of cold, Monday Night Football
was awful.
Yeah. Last Monday between the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots was definitely, if you were looking to buy a snow globe for Christmas, there was no need to, because you had 3 hours of it on Monday night. So winds were roughly about 100 kilometers an hour, to put in perspective, here in Canada. A little frosty. There was not a whole lot of field goals attempted, even though I think New England made 2, which was actually just about as much throws as Mac Jones attempted to play. Yeah, it was about the same. 2 or 3.
He went 2 or 3 for 19
yards.
Exactly. Yeah, 2 or 3 for 19 yards.
And I believe his passer rating was a very impressive 4.3.
Out
of a possible 158.
All that matters is that W, right? He got the win. The Bills couldn't get the job done. They looked abysmal. They looked just awful.
And now they're in the last wild card spot.
Yeah. And remember, we thought, they're going to definitely win this division. They're going to be at the top of this conference. In the AFC, they're going to be at the top of the AFC. You got the Pats up there now. What does that say about Bill Belichick?
Oh, he's a GOAT.
Is he the real mind?
I saw this today, not to run this through Turn It In, but the most likely Super Bowl matchup is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New England Patriots.
I think if that happens, it's 1, NFL is rigged, but 2, we'd all love to see it too. So it's like we don't care that it's rigged.
Would that not be the most highest rated Super Bowl ever?
It would have to be. You got the GOAT against his old team against a new up and coming, could be his predecessor and become that new GOAT.
Not to mention the halftime show with Snoop, Dre, Lamar, Mary J.
So it's going to be a good one.
And then the day after is only Valentine's Day.
Oh, so we'll go on some cute dates. Not me.
Nice. That was good. Very funny.
Not me.
Very, very funny.
But
I forgot. I lost my train of thought now, you scum.
Don't worry. We're going to talk about something that you're very happy about, because the Lions got their first win of the season. And who called it no one else other than Jay Murchison over here, called it on the podcast. I think he called it 3 weeks ago. I remember when Pittsburgh tied, that's when we talked about who's the team that's gonna lose to the Lions, and Jay said the Vikings, and he was right.
And my boy Amon-Ra St. Brown from USC, go Trojans, only made the game-winning catch with 0 time on the clock. Unbelievable.
Jared Goff's the GOAT.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I think the whole team thinks.
I think it was long overdue to see Detroit. I think it's pretty hard not to root for Detroit, even though they've been that bad. I think you know what? I think they're gonna find a way to not finish dead last now.
I think it was just happy Dan Campbell, man, got a win.
But I think it's like the most Detroit Lions thing ever to win this game, and now they're not going to finish last. They're not going to be the worst team in the NFL.
You don't think they will be?
No,
you still don't think they're going to be?
It's Detroit Lions. Like they're so bad
at being bad.
They're
going to be bad at being bad.
That's exactly what they're doing. And it's just Detroit. But if you remember last year too, I call when the Steelers were going to lose their first game.
You did in the same week. Number 13.
Yeah, take that in.
Didn't work at the casino though.
Mystic Malcolm, it's like a Mystic merch. No big deal.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool nickname. Gonna have to have that segment on the show. Other than that though, I didn't even see this interview. The Mekhi Hyde and Jordan Poyer.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So what happened in this?
So after the game, obviously Mac Jones throwing 3 passes was the focal point of discussion against the Bills defense. So basically, the reporter was like, "How embarrassing is it that you lost to a team that only threw the ball 3 times?" And obviously that they didn't take that very lightly.
Really? And
the reporter's follow-up, I was like, "Why are you asking this question? I guess it's a stupid question." And you can why? And he goes, it's you got embarrassed, is what he said. So
yikes.
Yeah, it's they didn't take that too lightly for obvious reasons. Yikes. And Micah Hyde, after the whole interview, is like, "Oh, I come out here every week, I answer all of your questions, and you say that." It's fantastic. I loved it.
You gotta get the media,
but you know what? You should expect that, because if you lose with a team that throws the ball 3 times,
how many times did they throw the ball?
30 plus.
Really, I didn't even realize how many.
Yeah, but let's
in the win too.
Let's flip the script. If the Bills win, are we not talking like Bill Belichick saying, "Why did you throw the ball 3 times?"
Exactly.
Just the way it goes.
Yeah, just whoever's gonna win. It was a close game too, right? It was just whoever's gonna win that one. The Bills ended up looking like the idiots, so nothing else you can do.
Right. And then the last part here, we got the Washington football team has been on another heater, only winning 4 straight games. Yeah. I think they're now 6-7. So they're closing in on the division with the Dallas Cowboys, who, I want to say are legit, but I really can't at the same time, because the football team beat the Vegas Raiders last week on a game-winning field goal, and the Vegas Raiders came out and beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Dallas. So do they have a legitimate chance at winning the NFC East? I think they do. And it was just like last year when they're all trash and everyone had a chance. But this year it's a bit more separated. I think Washington, I would say, is with their hot streak right now, they're favorites to win the division. But we'll see what happens. Dallas can pick it up again and play like the beginning of the season. And they got to play them too. I think next week they play each other. They do. Which is going to be. So that's going to be some big game. I think if Washington can win that, then that's obviously a big factor. Huge. That's going to be huge. So I want them to win. I know we got Trevor Wakayama. He's a roommate. He's a big Washington fan now because of J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson for his fantasy team. So we're rooting for the football team here. Absolutely. Yeah. College football. We finally now have our college football playoff finalists. We're announced now. Alabama is now the 1 seed after taking down Georgia in the SEC championship game. Bryce Young, I think, solidified the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. Not to spoil the next part of the next point here, but he played absolutely fantastic. But John Mechie won't be playing the next in the semifinal or the national championship if they get there. Torn ACL. I think it's going to be back for his senior year, because I don't think you want to be going into your draft year injured. Like exactly. Yeah. The second seed is the Michigan Wolverines. As much to my chagrin, the Michigan Wolverines, they absolutely dismantled the Iowa Hawkeyes in Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, winning 42-3, I believe. Yikes. Wasn't even close. And they will be playing against who I still think is the best team in the country, in the Georgia Bulldogs. They let Alabama put up 40 on them. I think they averaged about 7 points a game, and they let up 40. Bama, though. Exactly. Roll Tide. Yeah, I'm just happy they're not playing each other in the semifinal, because I think we saw the national championship game last week. Yep. And the team I am most excited to see play, they're going up against Alabama, but they took care of business in the American Conference Championship game, and that's the Cincinnati Bearcats, the first non-Power 5 school to make it into the college football playoff. Are you hammering bets for the Bearcats? I think everyone's got it, right? They're the underdogs. You got to believe stuff like this happens. It doesn't happen all the time. Remember, you see in March Madness when a dream team, a Cinderella team goes Loyola Chicago, exactly. Stuff like this. Montreal Canadiens last year for the Stanley Cup final. Stuff like this always happens.
Cincinnati could push all the way through, but after Bama, what they did to Georgia, it doesn't look likely, but only time will tell.
Exactly right. And before the college football playoff goes on, we have the Heisman Trophy to give out. And the finalists were also announced last weekend. Bryce Young from Alabama, my boy CJ Stroud from Ohio State, Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end from, I can't throw up my mouth a little bit, University of Michigan, and quarterback Kenny Pickett from the University of Pittsburgh. Is this a foregone conclusion for Bryce Young or what?
I think it's Bryce Young all the way, especially after the game against Georgia. Without a doubt, 4 touchdowns that game. He's locked it up without question. I know you probably want to see Stroud win it.
Obviously, but I think the guy who's, I don't know if they have a second or third in voting, but I think Aiden Hutchinson, as much as I love to admit it,
I'd be defensive player.
He's probably going to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He's been pushing Kayvon Thibodeau to the breaking point when in terms of closing in on him for the first overall pick. If you set a single season record for sacks in your school, and the school is only Michigan, even though they sucked at football for the last 20 years, because thanks to Harbaugh, they suck. But it's pretty hard to ignore that. And Kayvon Thibodeau is not going to be playing in any college football championship or New Year's Day 6 game. So, I mean, I think if Michigan makes it to the national championship game, I see Aiden Hutchinson going first overall in the draft.
And would you compare him to like maybe a TJ Watt in the NFL, the guy who leads the league in sacks while not playing 2 games and tying the franchise record in sacks as well?
Well, you want to talk about tying the franchise record? I mean, Myles Garrett can break it too this Sunday as well. He can break the Browns franchise record.
I just think there's going to be a big race for this depoy. I just want to bring this up. I think there's going to be a big race for this depoy. It's going to be Diggs, Garrett, and TJ Watt. We'll see what happens in these last few weeks.
A hot take. I think Trayvon Diggs is actually a terrible defender.
You think he's just awful and lucky and he's getting his picks?
No, it's just he's terrible in coverage and he's just really good at picking off balls.
Yeah, he's good at just being a ball hawk.
Yeah, it's plain and simple.
It's
He's terrible in coverage, but most of them are. That's why they get the balls.
There's Jalen Ramsey. Would you say he's good in coverage?
Oh, isn't he? How good he plays hockey, right? He says he can beat anybody in any sport. It's very, very simple.
Well, TJ Watt for depoy. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, mark your calendars down. So until next time, we'll be looking at all these sports in depth and maybe some Malcolm betting odds because, he is all about the bets.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The $1 bets.
James Holtzhauer kind of night for this guy.
Learn from the master.
Nice. So until then, it's Jacob.
Cool.